So the word idiolect consists of the prefix, it's Greek from IE Indo-European swe, ultimately. Own private personal, and lect, which just for all intents and purposes, think of it as a speak. So idiolect would be personal speak or individual speak. An idiolect is the unique way in which an individual speaks. So by unique, I don't mean conspicuously different than normal. I mean every individual basically speaks the language differently than other individuals speaking the same language. Every person has his or her own way of speaking, basically. This has various aspects, including the way the individual uses grammar, but it extends to the other aspects. An idiolect is an individual's way of speaking, including sounds, words, grammar, and guess what? Style. You remember I told you a sociolect is a social dialect? Similarly, an idiolect is an individual dialect. So an idiolect would be a subset of a dialect. So in a sociolect, for example, you would sound like the people who have the same educational background, occupation, etc. An idiolect is an individual variety of the language. You remember George W. Bush, the US president? Basically, he had his own peculiar way of speaking. And there is a term in English called Bushisms. So Bushisms are all the ways in which George W. Bush used English. So Bushisms constitute ex-President George W. Bush's idiolect. For example,
I think they misunderestimated the will and determination of the commander-in-chief, too.
this is an aspect of his vocabulary. So you remember I told you an idiolect can be different aspects of language that the person uses uniquely. So here it's a lexical aspect, which has to do with vocabulary. There's also the phonological aspect. For example,
nuclear power plants and a nuclear-free Korean peninsula.
So these are the phonological aspects of his idiolect. An idiolect is basically the way an individual talks. This includes stylistic markers. For example, do you know about the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski? So he was basically a mathematician. He would make bombs and he would send it to people that he thought deserved to die. There is a TV show, a TV series made about him. It has to do with linguistics, in particular forensic linguistics.
Leave it to the comparative linguistics grad student to focus on what's relevant.
So at some point, Ted Kaczynski publishes an essay which is called Industrial Society and Its Future.
The FBI recommendation is that we publish the manifesto.
By this point in that the police were looking, the FBI were looking for Ted Kaczynski. Nobody had a clue where to find him. So there was an FBI agent who was actually a criminal profiler and forensic linguist.
Who the hell are you? I'm a profiler.
So in this movie you would basically see how, by examining the essay and the stylistic aspects and the idiolectal aspects of the essay, he could finally find Ted Kaczynski.
Is it corrections or errata?
Corrections.
These numbered paragraphs, the numbered endnotes, and the corrections page, this is standard formatting for a PhD. This style of endnotes was only used before 1972-ish when they changed to footnotes.
The corrections page.
It was called errata before 1967.
You must have written a dissertation. You must have written a dissertation between 67 and 72.
Comparative linguistics.
So this whole TV show is an elaborate example of how the analysis of an idiolect can lead to important police work. One aspect of style is also word choice. So that's a stylistic aspect of idiolect. In the movie, they were talking about citation style. An interesting thing that would be relevant to the idiolect is also when people want to do impressions of a person. What do you do? Basically what they do is they listen and watch the person speak, they make a profile of his idiolect, and then they try to copy it, right?
This country will engage in an unprecedented revolution politically to take on the billionaire class.
They're fantastic people. I've known them a long time.
Obviously he's conveying like the tone and the body language, but also he's losing a lot of vocabulary. So different individuals may have different signature phrases or catchphrases, or words that they often use, or expressions that they often use, which becomes a feature of their idiolect. So obviously Barack Obama had one of those.
So let me be clear.
And let me be clear. Now let me be clear.
You see, folks, folks are hurting out there. Now let me be clear.
So let me be clear. But let me be clear.
I mean, sometimes the way people use certain expressions or even certain words can be annoying, you know? I mean, you might have friends or people you know that use certain words and expressions in an annoying way. So if you think about it, like, there are people who use them like so much. So if you use this frequently enough, it can be an aspect of your idiolect.
Oh, yeah, no. You know what? No, yeah.
What?
Yeah, we can't give you your money back for that. Yeah, no.
Okay, so basically an idiolect is a collection of the unique characteristics of an individual's way of speaking or using language. Okay, so that's what an idiolect is. So this can include various aspects of the person's language. It could be the choice of words, which is a lexical aspect. It can have to do with the style, grammar, or even phonology. So I also showed multiple examples of how you can reproduce or copy or analyze a person's idiolect. It may have to do with forensic linguistics and police work. It might be used in comedy. If you have questions, comments, if there are certain topics that you would like to be covered, you can always suggest them in the comments. I will take notes and I will definitely consider them for the future.